Starting from scratch. Yard talk. No dog raised, sold, or bred for any legal purposes. This is strictly for historical and educational purposes only. Today we're going to be talking about one of the purest bred dogs from Earl Tudor's yard. And he's a great one. Patrick's Tombstone, registered married. A great looking dog, an awesome producer from Earl Tudor's yard. This is Don Mayfield talking about the dog he owned, Patrick's Tombstone.
He was one of the dogs in the game that, as we all know, he became a famous dog. And there's lots to tell about such a dog as Tombstone. He was a dog that's left record of his time here in such a way as it'll be in the game for years to come. And he was a dog that was bred by Don Maloney. Don Maloney, he was dealing with Earl Tudor at that time, and he had dogs bred out of Earl Tudor's yard. And he bred Tombstone out of his dog he called Toot. Toot was a dog that was out of Tudor's Spike and Tudor's Baby. And no, it was Tudor's Spike and Black Widow. Black Widow was a dog that Maurice Carver once owned, and he got her from Miss Hanson, which she originally came from Earl Tudor's yard. And she ended up back on Earl Tudor's yard in later years after several different ones had owned her. And when she ended up on his yard, he bred her to Spike, and that produced Toot, Maloney's Toot. Maloney, he dealt that pup at a time to Ron Petronelli in Boston, and I believe it was Rhode Island where Ron lived. But Maloney had he was dealing with Earl Tudor at the time, and he had some of Earl Tudor's very purebred bitches over at his house that he was keeping and breeding them, and him and Earl was splitting the pups in such a way as Don got to keep the ones that he wanted to keep, but the ones he didn't want to keep, he gave to Earl, and Earl was selling them. But if anybody sold any of those dogs, it would be Earl. The deal was Don just to keep the males, and the females came back to Earl's house. Well, Don didn't, there's no way that he would have let Earl know that he sold one of those pups out of one of those purebred bitches, because it upset Earl very much. And when he sold that pup to Ron Petronelli, which was Tombstone, he sold him to her under the breeding of showing that she was out of a crossbred, an scatterbred female called Gina. But I never was able to find out exactly for sure how Tombstone was bred. But I always thought that she was out of some of those purebred bitches that Don had there in his yard. But if he would have ever let Earl know about it, it would have been a breakup for sure. And Don wouldn't have ever let nobody know about exactly how that dog was bred. But I was just sure that the dog wasn't out of Gina.
Patrick's Tombstone, one of the greatest American Pit Bull Terriers. He was bred to Patrick's Red Baby, a daughter of Indian Bolio, to produce one of the greatest litters of all times, producing Anderson's Champion Tonka, Champion Crash, Chrome Cremator, Uptown's Champion Snubby. All great dogs.